I cannot believe what I just witnessed as the Milwaukee Bucks win another game on the back of Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo, and this team is starting to look scary. We're going to break down the big win over the Pacers and discuss who impressed tonight because they are starting to roll. But before we get into all that, a quick reminder, if you're a part of the 80% who aren't subscribed to the channel, it's the place to be right here for daily Bucks content. If you're enjoying the daily Bucks content, make sure to hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 1,500 subscribers, and your guys' support has been unbelievable. And thank you guys again. So let's dive right into it, guys. We have a lot to go over today. And wow, what a game this was. And if you watch the game, they set the tone early. They were up as much as 20 in the third quarter, 79-59. But there are some things I want to talk about in this game that stood out to me. Now, again, coming into the game, things have been very up and down with this team. You think about AJ Green. You think about everybody that has been playing well. AJ Green had a phenomenal game last game. And he comes out tonight and has a bit of a stinker. He is a minus 22 in a game where they win, fairly handedly. But we got to talk about a few things. Now, we'll dive into other things as well, including the standings and where the Bucks currently stand. But I want to start with Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard. You look at their stat lines. Dame went 8 for 19, 24 points. Giannis had, 37, 10, and 11, a triple-double. And finally, Dame got a nice, well-deserved double-double there with 13 assists. The connection between these two guys, Dame and Giannis, in this game was absolutely impeccable. You look at the pick-and-roll action they're running. There was a play there in the third, a little short spurt, where there was back-to-back, lobs. And when you're looking at Giannis and Dame, what you need out of them is, of course, just the chemistry needs to be there. And something that hasn't been there all of last season, if you watch the Bucks games, and a lot of this season, was their chemistry out of the pick and roll. Coming into the season last year, when they made this trade, they got rid of Drew Holiday, and they got rid of course, a bunch of other guys. The big thing was, will Dame and Giannis be able to work together, and how's their chemistry going to work out? Because they should be, and they should have, the best pick and roll in basketball. You're looking at Giannis Antetokounmpo, the best downhill player we may have ever seen, and Damian Lillard, who is an unbelievable shooting guard. Shooting, comma guard. He's obviously a point guard. And this was the first game where I was watching it and I was thinking, wow, you can see the effect. Dame would obviously call for a screen from Giannis. Giannis would come up and the defense would suffocate Dame and would have to respect his 30-footers because he was hitting some threes and I hit 3. But then Giannis would just dive to the net, and because he's so tall, he's 7 foot tall basically, one of the best finishers in the league, it was unstoppable. And that's why they were both so good. Giannis put up 37. Of course, he did his thing from the free throw line. That's a big difference between Giannis scoring 30 and Giannis scoring 40 is the free throws. But man, oh man, what an absolute masterclass of a game, specifically regarding the pick and roll action from Dame and Giannis. That's the biggest takeaway from this game for me, is that if they can continue to uphold this pick and roll offense, they are going to be a scary team. They didn't get much from any of the other guys tonight. Other starters, that is. The bench came up big. Taurean Prince, a great game. And again, I've been hard on him. He only had 13 points, but he was great defensively. He was a plus 27. He hit his threes. He didn't miss a shot besides free throws. And he's a perfect role player for this team. And I gotta, I'll give credit where it's due, and I'll take the L where the L is due. I wasn't super high in the signing, especially after his antics, how Darvin Ham played him so much in LA. But he's been a perfect role player for this team. And he fit alongside Dame and Giannis perfectly tonight. And we're starting to see what this team looks like when they play together. Of course, again, Giannis had a phenomenal game. The pick and roll action between Dame and Giannis is unbelievable. It's impeccable. And tonight was the first night where I really saw it, and I was like, wow, I can see how well these guys are playing together, and they need to keep that going. And they do need to keep it going. Ajax, again, he's there for defense. He was a plus 18, scored 0 points, was 0 for 5. His offensive game is really struggling, but he's doing the other things. 2 steals and a block. We saw him get a bunch of rebounds. I was watching him specifically on the defensive glass, and he looked very good, especially in the first half. So that was interesting. You look at the bench now, and again, Bobby Portis, he's been playing solid. He's trying to facilitate more. His defense is still lackluster, but he put up 17 and 7 in 23 minutes off the bench, and they're probably going to trade Bobby. He probably deserves to be traded, but some team, at the very least, is playing up his value, because some team is certainly going to be willing to give up some sort of assets for a guy off the bench who can give you 20 and 10 on any given night in limited minutes. And this was also a night where we saw Gary Trent Jr. really slide into that starting spot and go 6 for 10 from 3. I've been telling you guys on the channel, he's really starting to find his groove offensively, specifically from the three-point line. And if that is the case, I would potentially see a world where he slides into the starting lineup at some point soon and in the near future. But him coming off the bench is finally working. So maybe you don't want to break something that isn't, fix something that isn't broken, because Ajax, albeit he hasn't been good offensively at all, rough game tonight, he's still fitting in fairly well, especially defensively. And in a game where everybody's finally starting to find their energy now, find their gel. Their defense was great. Look at that starting lineup from, the Pacers. Siakam had a solid game, 20. Tyrese, 18. They shot 47% from the field, 32% from three, but they didn't shoot a ton of threes. They ran them off the line fairly well. They shot 34 threes, and they didn't shoot them very well. Of course, Tyrese is going to get his threes. But the more I watch this game, again, I can't get over the fact of how good that Giannis and Dame pick and roll looked. As you look at the lobs that are going down, as you look at everything, it was finally starting to come together. And even in a game where AJ Green had a very rough shooting night, you got enough from guys like Gary Trent Jr. and, of course, Bobby Portis. You got the garbage time for Tyler Smith, Stanley Mood, Marjon Beauchamp, Chris Livingston. Great to see Chris Livingston in there. Stanley Mood, it is what it is. But wow, oh wow, what a game. And a game where you can play Stanley Mood and some of these other guys, that's considered a win for me. Because a guy like, Marjon Beauchamp, who's not going to get any more minutes going forward, all these different guys, I'm loving, love to see Stanley Mood get some minutes there. But I want to go over a couple things. Also, I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong, but let me know down below how to pronounce Stanley Mood's name. This quad, unit right here, Bucks have won 5 of the last 6. Just an unbelievable game from these 4 specific players. Brook Lopez cooled down a little bit. They are now 6th in the East. They are 7-9. They're behind Miami, who has, we have a couple games ahead on Miami. But you look at the top. Obviously, the Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers, you're probably not going to beat them. I don't think there's a world where you're going to get, I don't mean beat them in the playoffs, but beat them in the race of the Eastern Conference. You can catch up with the Knicks. You're within reach there. You're within reach of the 3rd seed in the East. No other team has ran away with that 3rd seed, which is something that is very interesting because as you start to look at things now, there was a time where they were, 1-5, 1-6. Things were looking horrible. Chris Middleton is seemingly going to return next week. You have this team currently right now who are looking very solid. I mean, they're looking formidable. I think they are probably the scariest team to the Boston Celtics. You could argue the Cleveland Cavaliers, but this team is looking very, very scary. And again, you're watching the games, you're seeing the Lob City connection. Obviously not the Clippers, but the the Dame and of course Giannis connection. And as you start to look at that, you're starting to think, hey, I can see the vision here. This is what we were looking for all last season. We didn't get it. They're finally starting to get healthy now. You're seeing guys like Dame play well, guys like Giannis play well, obviously. But then you're seeing guys like Bobby Portis start to step up and Gary Trent Jr. finally playing well. This is all they needed. You factor in Chris Middleton into that lineup with Taurean Prince the way that he's been playing. A team high plus 27, a game high plus 27. Phenomenal role player in Taurean Prince. You can play alongside Chris Middleton, play alongside Dame, play alongside Giannis. This team is scary, man, and it is exciting to finally see them come together and continue to stockpile these wins, and it's something that we've been waiting for all year. Again, I knew this team was going to come back. You can go back in the videos. I've been saying it all along. Once Dame and Giannis get that chemistry going, the team's going to be scary. Chris Middleton is going to be continuing to rehab and hopefully come back soon, add some much-needed pop into that lineup, and as the games continue to go, the wins continue to stockpile up, they are climbing up that Eastern Conference, and they're very close to that 3 seed, and they're only 8.5 games back of the 1 seed, and I think the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to cool off. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on all this. A crazy game tonight, and this Bucks team is very back, and they are a wagon. So thank you guys for watching. Hit the subscribe button. See you later.